Hi, I'm Tanya, and I'm an adult child of divorce. My parents divorced when I was 10 years old. And one really common question that I get asked about children and divorce is whether or not divorce is something that children can outgrow or overcome or leave in the past. Now, I understand this question from a number of different levels. Of course, as a society, we all want to know how much divorce impacts children and how we can support children, how we can support parents. Parents want to know what can be done for their children to make the divorce less painful and disruptive. And of course, as children ourselves who've been through divorce of our parents, we're often curious about how many of the things that we are dealing with throughout life into adulthood are actually connected to our parents' divorce, and how many things are just simply part of life, part of growing up, part of navigating adulthood. So I have three general comments in response to this question about whether or not divorce is something that children can grow out of or overcome. Now, the first idea is simply that what you experience as a child shapes you as a person. This is how life is designed. This is how we learn and grow as human beings. So all the things that we experience, the small things, the big things, the traumatic things, the ordinary, mundane things, these are all shaping us and helping us to understand so many things about relationships, about choices, about consequences. And as we progress through life, we take the things that we've experienced as children, as adolescents and teens, and then the beauty of adulthood is in our adult life, we have more freedom and more choice to decide which of the things from our childhood experience, from our family and our adolescence, our teen years, which of those things do we want to take with us into our adult life? And which of the things do we want to relearn or rediscover as adults? Some of the things you've learned in your family or as a child and as a teen are really going to help you to have the life that you want as an adult. But some of the things you've learned from your family over your childhood and adolescence are actually things that you don't want to hold on to. You want to relearn or discover new ways of interacting and relating. So to ask if you can grow out of coming from a divorced family makes as much sense as to ask, can you grow out of your experience of coming from an intact family? Perhaps a better way to look at that or to ask that question is to simply acknowledge that the more you understand how your childhood and youth experience have shaped you as a person, the more you can decide which of those things you want to hold on to as you move forward and which of them you want to let go of or change. A second idea in response to the question, can you outgrow your parents' divorce? Can you leave it behind? Can you forget about it? Is simply to state that divorce or separation has changed the configuration of your family permanently. It is an irreversible change. For the rest of your life, you will have divorced or separated parents. Now, of course, that means different things to each of us. Some of us have parents who get along. Some of us have parents who don't get along. Some of our parents have stayed single. Others have remarried or maybe even married and divorced again. Some of us have close relationship with our parents and others have distant relationship with our parents. But the reality is divorce has impacted your family, and it will impact your birthdays, your holidays, your special events, graduations, weddings, anniversaries, and funerals. The divorce has impacted your family for life, and it's not going to change. It is not something that's just in the past. It is part of your present, and it will be part of your future. As your parents grow older and perhaps need more practical support from you, the fact that they are no longer together will impact how much and how well you're able to support them in their old age. So in that sense, divorce isn't something that you can grow out of and move beyond because it will always be part of your family life. And the third comment in response to the question of whether or not divorce is something you can leave in the past, grow out of, and forget about, is that by its very nature, divorce will stir up questions related to love, commitment, faithfulness, and belonging. These are the questions that you will wrestle with and think about for the rest of your life. So even though your parents didn't mean to cast shadows onto these areas of your life, you will have extra questions to ask that you may not have had to ask if your parents' marriage was still intact. For many of us, children of divorce, the questions that we have about life continue to grow as we move through life. And as much as we would like to leave all those things in the past, For many of us, these questions about belonging, family, love, trust, and so on are still very present in our life today. So, in summary, in response to the question about whether or not divorce will have long-lasting impact on children, my answer would be yes. Divorce is a permanent decision that impacts and shapes children for life. The good news is that divorce isn't the end of the story, and it doesn't have to define us as children of divorce. It doesn't automatically doom us to a life of loneliness, rejection, failed relationships, isolation, or fear. But what I would say to us children of divorce is that the questions that you have, the fears, the insecurities that you are wrestling with, they are not just going to go away on their own. They are not going to shrink away as you forget about them, as you push them down, as you ignore or neglect them. The painful messages that you may have received or interpreted as a child about your value, your worth, about whether or not you're important to people, those messages aren't going to be rewritten into something better without some work and some focus. If you found this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to this channel so that you can learn more about the experience of adult children of divorce and how we can move forward in our healing journey.